Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start today's message with a story. And the story goes thus. There was this very wealthy man who was taking a walk. He decided to take a walk along the street incognito. And as he was going down the street, he saw this young looking man begging for alms. The young man definitely looked out of place because he could tell right away that this guy couldn't really be a beggar or a professional beggar, as we know some have turned that into a profession. And so he approached the young man and said, what happened? How come you are out here on the street begging for alms? And the young man, in perfect language and English and with perfect understanding, said, Sir, it's my circumstance that has put me in this place. I graduated with an honors degree. I've been looking for a job for the past year. I've not been able to find one. And I don't want to steal. So I resorted to begging while still looking for a job. And he went on to say, Sir, if you do have a job that you can offer to me, any type of job, I will be more than happy to do it because I want to earn an honest living. And so the man said, Well, I was attracted to you because I saw something in you. I'm going to give you something better than a job. And the young man was excited. Well, you're going to give me something better than a job. Whatever it is, sir, I am willing to do it. And so the rich man said, You know what? I'm going to be a very wealthy man, very wealthy. You don't even want to know how wealthy I am. So I'm not just going to give you a job. I have actually decided to make you my business partner. And the young man was aghast. Me, from nowhere, your business partner? He fell at the feet of the rich man and said, Sir, thank you so very much. How do you want us to split? Since it's now a business partnership, he understood what that meant. So, how do you now want us to split the income, the profit that will come from this business partnership? And then the rich man said, We're going to split it this way. The young man said, Sir, I'm ready to take 10%. I'm ready to take 5%. Whatever arrangement you make that suits you, I'll be more than happy to roll along with it. So the rich man smiled and said, No, I'm not going to split it that way. I'm not even going to do it 50-50. Um, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to take just 10% and you keep 90%. And the young man was like, No, sir, how can that hold? Who does that? And the rich man said, Just hold on. I'm going to supply you the goods. I have this big rice plantation. I'm going to get you a store, and then I'm going to supply you bags of rice. I will bring them. My people will bring them to your store. The store I will get for you. Your own job is just to sell the rice. At the end of every month, you pay me 10% of your profits. That's all I want from you. The young man couldn't believe his ears. He was aghast with surprise. He said, I will do anything. I will even give you more than 10%. And the rich man said, You just hold on a moment. Don't be too hurried with your promises. I just want you to give 10%, no more than 10%. Listen, I'm such a wealthy man that I really do not need that money. I can give you this business and take nothing from you. But I'm asking for just that 10% because I want to test your faithfulness and your gratitude. So that's the deal. Signed, sealed, and delivered. The young man got his supplies. And then the rich man added, I will not only do that, I'm going to also give you an allowance for 30 days, for the first 30 days of the business, so that you don't even need to live off the profits yet. And so the young man was excited. Month one, good supply, he sold. He made so much money, so much profit from me. He was excited. And without blinking an eyelid, he quickly, each time the rich man came to collect his 10%, he quickly turned it over to him. I'm so excited. And occasionally he would even want to give more. And the rich man said, no, 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 no. I told you I just want 10%, no more, no less. This went on for a couple of months. Month 6, month 7, month 8. By the 9th month, this young man was counting the profits kept on, increasing. So as he was counting the profits, the idea just came to his head. And he was like, you know what? What is really going on here? This rich man just supplies me the goods. I do all the hard work. He was actually working hard, day and night, marketing the product, doing everything he needed to do. I do all the hard work, and he does nothing. So why should I actually give him 10%? He's not entitled to that. I am the one doing the whole work here. And so the rich man comes along month 9 to collect his 10%. And the young man opens the door, looks him in the face, and said, hey, sir, I appreciate what you've been doing for me these past 8 months and all that. But in reality, I don't think that you deserve this. I do all the hard work. Why should I give you this 10%? I should keep the 100% to myself. And he slammed the door in the face of his benefactor. Now, if you were that business partner, that rich man, what would you do? What would you do? Now, before rushing to pass judgment on this young man, let us pause and think deeply. Many of us, hopefully nobody in this room, nobody listening to me here, but many of us out there who will also hear this message might be like that beggarly young man, who's a beggar, who was willing to give over and above the 10% that the rich owner had requested for. Many are like that. When it comes to, of course, the obvious, what do? We begin to question God. Let us turn at this point to Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter and the 18th verse. Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter, and we'll take a reading from the 18th verse. As I said, before we rush to pass judgment on that young man, let us all individually examine ourselves and ask ourselves, are we in any way, shape, or form like that young man? Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter and the 18th verse. But you shall remember the eternal your God, for it is he that gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which is swore to your fathers, as it is this day. Brethren, my friends out there hearing this, God gave us everything. He gave us life. Every single moment, every single breath, every single second. He gave us all we have and all we need to make wealth. He gave us our body, our eyes, our ears, our mouth, our hands, our feet, our heart. He gave us our mind, our imaginations, our emotions, our reasoning, our language. He gave us opportunities, some taken, some lost. Above all, he gave us health, and he put us where we are today. Do we take God's gift for granted? Do we walk the earth with chips on our shoulders? Right? Chips on our shoulders. At times, full of pride. I don't believe anybody in this room does that, but there might be many out there who do that. I don't know. But I have heard people declare, oh, I am self-made and I owe nobody anything. I have even heard people say, I have paid my dues. I have paid my dues. I've struggled in life and I've paid my dues. And this is the time for me to indulge myself and enjoy myself. I believe no one here does so. But brethren, let us not forget God's immeasurable bounties and become ungrateful like that young man. Remember how that young man groveled at the feet of the rich man and said, whatever, however you suggest, whatever arrangements you come to, I will be more than happy to do it. He even suggested giving the rich man much more, 90%, while he will keep 10 or even 95, and he will just keep 5. But when things began to look good for him, when he felt he had come of age, when he felt he had arrived, what did he do? He forgot his benefactor and he decided that, oh, it is my labor, it is my hard work that has brought me this. And it has nothing to do with the person who started him off in life. So, as Christians, do we fully now? I know that almost everyone hearing me in this room or through this medium, those of us who associate together, I know that all of you know this, and I do not think that this is anything strange to any of you. But for the sake of everybody else out there who will also hear this message, do you know that 10% of everything that you own belongs to God? God says that is His. He's giving you 90% to do as you please. And He's just retaining 1/10, just a paltry 10% is all He says that you should give back to Him. And He's so generous and loving that He even promises to still bless you for giving Him back that 10%. If you would only joyfully obey and give Him what is His, pay Him what is His. It's not a gift. It's something He requires from us. But He's so wealthy. Does He really need it? You say, what does God need my 10% for? Does He really need it? There's a reason He has requested for that. The work has to go on. His ministry has to be taken care of. Other things have to be taken care of to get the word across to as many as hear it. So He has His reasons. And He said we will reap our bountiful blessings from it. Let's turn to Malachi 3:10 and hear His promise. Again, remind ourselves of His promise when we obey Him, when we do what He has said to be done. Malachi, the 3rd chapter, and we'll take our reading from the 10th verse. Malachi chapter 3 and verse 10. Bring you all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, says the Eternal of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Brethren, that's God's word. It's not mine. I didn't write that. And ours is to bring God's word to you and the mind of God to you. You have the choice to obey it or not to obey it. It's your choice. Another thing here is that for those of us in this way of life, the feast is fast approaching. The feast is around the corner, a commanded gathering, a time God says, we shall all leave our tents and our dwellings, and we shall come together in a place where He has put His name to be in holy convocation with him and with our brethren. So have you faithfully? And then he made a provision again. Aside from the 10% that you give to him, that you pay him, which you owe, he made a provision for us to also put aside another 10% for our own use, not for him. He doesn't get a dime out of that, nothing, but it is his commanded saving for you to be able to enjoy his feast. So have we done that? And if we have not, and if we have tampered with it in any way, we still have a couple of days to restore that which we have taken so that we can go to where God has chosen to put his name to enjoy the feast. Each and every one of us in this country in particular, we know that you cannot defraud Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam does not joke with his taxes. You can go to prison for not paying your taxes as at when due. You can go to jail for that. But yet a lot of people out there are willing to defraud God. Again, I know that nobody amongst us would want to do that or is involved in that. But I want to encourage us to remember that God is the author of our lives. He owns us and he owns everything that we have. So it's only appropriate and fit that we ensure we give back to him what is his, even as we obey his commandments in keeping that he has commanded us to keep so that we can go enjoy that 7, 8, 9 days in his presence at his feast at a place he has commanded or he has placed his name in for us to do so.